Well, hey there, all you property preservation maniacs. This is Chuck Taylor with the Taylor Shop coming at you again with another vlog. This week we're going to be talking about a pretty mundane topic, but very important, I will say. Photos. Taking proper photos. Seems simple enough, but you'd be surprised as to what we've seen and how not to take crappy photos. Because bottom line is, the photos are what's going to show the work was done, provide justification for bids being placed. And if you don't take good photos, if you don't provide photos justifying work completed or justifying your bid, well, your bid could be cut, or your invoice could be cut because the photos didn't justify the work being completed. Now, I know a lot of you are sitting going, Chuck, come on, we know how to take photos. And you might. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't need to listen to this video. But there's a lot of people out there, a lot of contractors, and we see it, unfortunately, somewhat frequently, that photo taking, which is, in my opinion, an art form in this industry, is very poor. Now, I'll start off by saying, photos should tell the story of the property. You should be able to take photos and walk through the property, starting with the exterior, walking through the front door, walking through the living room, the bedrooms, the kitchen, the bathrooms. It should show how the property's laid out. Anybody should be able to look at the photos and be able to determine every room, everything based on how you take your photos. Most of you know I've been in the field. I spent over 2 years in the field, doing maintenance orders and trash outs and stuff. And one of the main things I realized really quickly is that being systematic with your photo taking is critical. If you're taking photos and you're inside the house, outside the house, all over the place, I mean, not only is that it's chaos, but for whoever who's processing the order, that's extreme chaos, and that's trying to get a solid read on what you're trying to tell, the story you're trying to tell at that property. It's not impossible, but it's very difficult. And you taking proper photos is the most important thing. I mean, we already know the camera is your most important tool in the field. Well, use it now. Making sure that all the proper conditions are being reported or being photographed. It's documentation is key to preventing monetary losses, which is including good photos. I mean, if you don't take good photos, I mean, you're setting yourself up for a huge potential risk of chargeback, cut bids, cut invoices, and all that. Making sure the photos, there's enough light. I'm sorry, but there's no excuse. Whether you're taking your photos with your cell phone or a regular digital camera, you should have a flashlight. You should have a powerful flashlight. I used to carry around like a 500,000 whatever gigantic spotlight with me. It was literally about this big, and I would carry it around, and believe me, it lit up the room. It lit up boarded up properties. Just because the property's boarded up is no excuse, or because it's in a basement or an attic, is simply no excuse to not taking quality photos. Get yourself a good light. Don't get yourself a little pen light. Get yourself a good light. And in this day and age, now with LED lights, I mean, you can get huge lumens, for relatively reasonable prices. And that way, and it'll be compact. Whereas I was taking the big spotlight with me, you don't have to do that. You can get yourself a decent LED flashlight that's gonna bright up a room and make sure that your photos are taken with there's no questionability of what's going on there. Because if you're taking dark photos or taking photos that unfortunately too early in the morning or the exterior is too dark, it's just not going to cut it. I mean, you're setting yourself up for a risk. So because you got to keep in mind too, if a situation does come up later, like new damages, the client's going to go through your previous photos, And if for any reason whatsoever you don't properly show a condition, you're setting yourself up. So no matter what, whenever you go to a property, you need to make sure you're documenting that property. Even if you go into a room and there's nothing wrong and there's no debris and there's no damage, take pictures of every wall, floor, and ceiling. Every room, there should be at least, as a minimum, 6 photos. And that's obviously of all the walls, a floor, and the ceiling. I mean, I couldn't imagine not doing it to cover your butt and to make sure that you're documenting the condition of that property, because sure, that condition can change. It may look great today, but there might be a roof leak. And now we got water damage. Well, you can show that. You can say, well, this is a new issue. We showed previously that this room was in good shape. Now we have a new issue. A new roof leak has caused new damage. And we can prove that with our photos. And there's a timeline involved, and that justifies it. It's absolutely critical. So, photo taking may seem like a mundane topic, but believe me, we're working with new contractors every week, and let me tell you, when we first start working with a guy, and we see the photos that we see, not all of them are horrible, but I'll tell you, the number one thing we see is chaos photos, basically what we call chaos photos, and that's when a guy takes photos, and he's taking photos of the exterior, taking photos of the interior. He's in the kitchen. He's outside on the deck. He's in the attic. He's up around. No, I mean, for processing purposes alone, that's ridiculous. That takes. You can't get a good read on what you're looking at, and for us to follow along with, okay, where is this at? Now, if you take photos when you go to the house, you take the exterior photos. You should always take exterior photos first. Go around the property, take all your photos. Get your exterior done. You could take the before photos of the lock change and then get your guy working on the locks, and then go around and take your exterior condition photos, and then get your durings. You just got to be systematic. You got to come up with a nice system, a nice tight system for taking photos. Because it's just I can't say it enough. It's just to be efficient in the field is so critical, and that begins with taking photos. Taking quality photos, good, accurate, clear, not blurry, not too close, not too far away. Understand, you should have some distance photos. You should have some, if you're taking photos of a room, and you take your normal condition photos of the room, but there's mold on the wall. Well, then go take some close-ups of the mold on the wall. Show where it's at. Show that it's under the window, or it's on the corner of the ceiling, or wherever it is. Document it so we know, okay, this is a bedroom and there's mold in here, or this is the kitchen and here's the mold. Don't take the condition photos and then come back later and do that. Now, you could do that if it's in a system. Some guys take all the condition photos and then go back and take all the bid photos and all the damage photos. That's fine. That's being systematic. That's fine. But when you're in and out and up and down and all around, that's chaos. And that's not being systematic. And that's eventually going to potentially cause problems. And that shows me that when you're at the property, you're being all over the place and you're not paying attention. You're not gonna be focused on what you're doing if you're in and out and all around and you don't develop a tight system. Whatever your system is, be systematic. Develop a system. That's critical. So, how can the tailor shop help? Well, good photos will allow us to be able to report what might have been missed on the paperwork. I cannot begin to tell you how many tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars we save contractors a year in potential misbids and potential chargebacks because of taking good photos, and that we can catch issues in the photos. And we catch issues every single day. That guys didn't document, didn't write down in the paperwork. We catch this stuff, and we provide bids, or we have to send it back if it's a damage issue. That's imperative. So even photos being the most important factor in field work, documentation being the second most important. But if you at least get a photo of it, we can catch it, and we will catch it. That's part of our quality control. That's why we maintain the highest quality control standards within this industry. It's because we rely on contractors taking quality photos, so we can process the order as accurately and efficiently as possible. Now, we also can provide suggestions on what should have been reported, meaning if we start seeing you missing stuff that we're catching, we're going to let you know, like, hey, you should really be documenting this on paper, giving us the dimensions and stuff like that, and any details, because these are issues. We're catching them. You might be taking a photo of it. It might be in the background and we caught it. But it's imperative that you listen to our suggestions, because you might realize, oh, that's a P&P biddable issue. That's something we should be bidding, not just something we should be documenting. And we also will provide suggestions if the lighting is poor or whatever. Like I just said earlier about having a proper flashlight, not some crappy Kmart $1.99, with 2C battery flashlight. Get yourself a decent flashlight, something that's waterproof. And a lot of these new LED flashlights do come waterproof, because, man, you drop it in a toilet or, outside somewhere, it'll be protected. Get yourself a durable, rugged flashlight. It's absolutely critical. Because come on, we know the power's not on these properties. A lot of them are boarded up, and they're in, you got to go in some dank basement that's just, dark and nasty. You got to have some good lighting to light it up, to document it properly. So we let you know about that. And we also report back to you when crews are reporting, basic missing photos. If there's a standardized set of pictures that you have to take at every property, and we all know this. So, but if you guys aren't getting those, if they're missing the air conditioning photos, if they're missing the, securing sticker photos, or the exterior condition photos, or the meter photo, or a water meter, or furnace, hot water tank, whatever, we're going to let you know, hey, you got to let your guy know that he's missing these required photos. These are required, standardized photos. It's a must-have. Taking proper condition photos on every visit is absolutely critical. Doesn't matter what visit it is, even if it's a utility order and you're going inside if you're actually going inside the property, there's no reason whatsoever you should not be taking condition photos. Bottom line. That's it. Bottom line. If you're going in, if it's occupied, if it's occupied and you're not going in, that's fine. But if you're going into property for any reason whatsoever, and it's imperative that you document that condition when you were there at that particular time. And that's really all I think I have to say about it. I mean, it's pretty basic, and if you made it through this video this far, I appreciate that, because I'm sure most people think, I take great photos and my photos are fine. They might be, but this is just illustrating some points as to why taking good photos is critical. And it's going to save you down the road. You guys might have heard a term called HUD demand letter. Yeah, good photos will help prevent that. Good, proper reporting will help prevent that from happening, which can happen, up to 5 years down the road. Be a nice surprise because you didn't document something correctly or update an order correctly. Proper photos and, of course, documentation is critical, but proper photos is the number one most important factor in completing property preservation work. And taking proper photos is somewhat of an art form. It is a skill. Not all of us are expected to be great photographers, but you have to figure out the little tips and tricks out there, and we've given you a few in this video about how to take good photos, good proper lighting, and have yourself a decent camera or a decent cell phone. In this day and age, you should, because most companies now are having you take photos with your phone. My cell phone takes better pictures than my digital camera, so. There's not, you can't say, my phone is this or it's that. Cell phones this day and age take pretty damn good photos. So, nonetheless, I want to wrap it up. Again, take good photos. The Taylor Shop can help you dial in your photo taking, issues if you have any. This is just one of the many skills that we excel at and know. But at any rate, thanks for watching. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please let us know. Have a great day.